Alright, I just want to make some corrections about the Turn 1 video. Uh, Basically, I said about the if I mentioned the unholy manifestation, which I'm not sure I did. I think I did. Basically, you want to do it on turn 1, not turn 2, even though you're not recruiting on turn 1. The reason is you want to activate the cooldown earlier. So if you come over here, Pestilent Growth, it's got a 15 turn cooldown. So the sooner you get that cooldown going, the sooner it's going to be available again in case you might need it in 15 turns. Because it's got a 2-turn duration and not a 1-turn duration, you can activate it now and then the next turn recruit, and still get the benefit. So that's what you should do. So that's what that looks like. The next thing, I talked about technology. So, like I said, you got to recruit, not recruit. You got to research fecundity, but I was talking about like why to go fecundity first. Basically, I made it seem like this, and this and this took and this took longer to get to than it actually does, because I made out like this technology requires both carcinogenic and creeping corruption. It actually only requires one. So I think I was in double digits for how long it takes. So that's 5 total. That's 8 total to get there. But still, 8 turns of no fecundity versus 2 turns fecundity, and then this good stuff happening over 8 turns is better. So that point still stands. Let's make sure I switch back to fecundity. Right. Next point is about the plague. So, like I said, you want to activate a plague on turn 1 instead of going for recruitment, and you want to build this infections building instead, because it's got something that's got an immediate impact. So I said, like, you want to put a plague on Malice because you want him to melt from the attrition, but experimentation showed like that really didn't have the impact that I thought it would. Basically what happens is, you know, he gets 3 turns, 4 turns maybe of attrition, and it doesn't melt his army enough to be of any effect by the time that Epidemius comes over. So it's not worth doing, basically, unless you want to like delay the plague and then put it on him later so that it has got an impact, which, you know, might well worth be doing. You might be better off going for a plague on your own stuff. If you put a plague on your own stuff and not Malice or his settlement, then you won't get the you won't get a notch on the tally. So you won't get 10 more research rate, which probably won't have any impact anyway. And you won't get this thing. I don't think it has a major advantage in battle. You don't really notice it happen a lot of the time. Just a random nurgling pops up. It gets a lot better when it gets into this kind of part of the bar, when you're getting spawn. This one's a spawn, and this one's a great unclean one. The actual main benefit, I think, of this bar thing is what it does in battle. So every army that's not a Nurgle army that's got a plague on it gets -4 leadership to begin with, -6 leadership, casualty replenishment rate. Then this is the like map-wide Mortis engine, as long as they're in melee with your guys, or any guys basically. They could be allied guys, and that gets worse when that's the same there, I think. But when you get to the last bit, it doubles basically. That's when it's like really savage. And this is quite good as well, because you're getting like loads of summons on Epidemius, and they're exalted plague bearers as well. Like that's a really good summon, tanky. So all that in mind, basically, still obviously have to do that one first. There's no point doing these because you know, you don't need them to fight down here for Epidemius. Like these will basically give you, you know, benefits in battle, but you don't need that. And the fights down here with your second lord in Bilious Cliffs doesn't need these. So you still want to go up here. So it's just a question of, do you want to do that or do you want to do that? I still think you want to do it. I still think you want to do the same plague basically. So is it on the settlement or the lord? I have to say that when I come to bring my second lord over with the units that I've hired, and he fights this battle, even though he greatly outnumbers this lord, the casualty replenishment's a bit weak, even with the plague ridden inside. So you might be better off putting it on the lord after all, and just hopefully the growth spreads to the Bilious Cliffs. What you can do, the great thing about putting on an army as well is you can, as long as you've got like a secondary lord hanging around that lord that gets the plague, you can basically make the plague permanent by making sure that you transfer a unit to a non-plagued reinforcing army, and then having the duration different. So like, let's say you've got one turn, or no, you've got 2 turns left on one lord, which you gave the plague to, and then you've got a lord next to him that hasn't got anything on him, and then you put the plague on him. Now that lord has 3 turns duration. Let's say you just kept everything by default here. So now you've got one lord with 3 duration and one lord with 2 duration. So when the one with 2 duration runs out, the one with 3 duration has 1 turn left. Then he can transfer the plague back again to the previous lord. So you keep the plague on them at all times, and then obviously the longer that goes on, the more you're going to be spreading that plague over time. So it might be the best way to spread plagues, and that's probably why duration doesn't matter that much. And I probably underrated how much immunity matters. If you was going to go for the plague on Malice, cutting the immunity duration it would help a lot, because then you can put the plague on him again when you build up to another 200 or so. That would be a way to like sustain the attrition basically over the time that Epidemius is coming back. So yeah, let's put it on the Lord. That's the Lord icon, and not the settlement. Instead of getting the cultist, the cultist won't work on your own armies. In fact, right. So that's that part of the corrections. I also said about the Earth Father's blessing in this bar thing, the tally basically. I said that you could use it on Malice. That's not true because it only affects units if the unit's not a Lord or Hero, which is basically any character. So you can't use it on him. So everything that's said about Zarkan or whatever, that it doesn't apply to Zarkan. And I think I said something about the amount of units you can hire. So I miscounted this or said the wrong amount. So 2, 6, 7, 9. That's 9 units there. And Epidemius has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's got 8 units. So that's 17. Epidemius makes 18. This Lord makes 19. And the hero makes 20. So you have got essentially a full stack, but I was just saying the numbers wrong. That's it basically. That's all my corrections. And if I was unclear at all with how you should finish up the turn, you basically want it to look like this. You want to put both guys on force march. Epidemius should be over here force marching, so we can immediately go onto this Tower of Flies the next turn, instead of like replenishing back here or putting him in channeling. If you put him in channeling, I think you'll still be able to reach the settlement, but you won't be able to sack then loot if you want to do that. I actually thought about this a bit because I think in the video I said you don't want to loot, you just want to sack the Tower of Flies. But thinking about that, you probably do want to loot it because after sacking, because you want to get the rebellion, because when you're coming back this way from Volcano's Heart, Epidemius isn't doing anything, he's not getting any value, so you're probably better off getting a rebellion kicked off here. And I played around and got the rebellion in my experimentation, and basically it's a Nurgle herald and like 6 Nurglings or something, and it's just not a challenge at all of a fight. So it's just free XP basically. So and then you'll also get like the military crackdown, public order, so that will be bringing down your bringing your control under control more basically. You might even get more Nurgle corruption from that fight, I'm not sure, because like it seems like whenever you win a fight in a settlement, you spread your own corruption. I don't know if that applies to rebels, but if it does, then that's even better. Yeah, I think that's everything for this video. I'll catch you on the next one, which is going to be about turn 2.